more by tomorrow. Investigations have started into the cause of the catastrophic Swissair MD-11 crash off the Canadian coast last night, in which all 229 on board were killed. They included 6 Britons and the founding director of the World Health Organization's global program on AIDS, the American Dr. Jonathan Mann. The plane was on a scheduled flight from New York to Geneva. An hour after takeoff, the captain reported smoke in the cockpit and diverted to Halifax in Nova Scotia to attempt an emergency landing. The aircraft disappeared from radar screens and crashed into the sea 20 miles south of the airport, off a place called Peggy's Cove. ITN's Colin Baker is there.
There's still a couple of hours of daylight searching left, but this is no longer a rescue mission. This is now an operation to recover the bodies of those who died and to bring in as much aircraft wreckage as possible to find out quickly why flight SR-111 came down here in the Atlantic last night. Just minutes from safety, Swissair Flight 111 plunged into the dark waters off Nova Scotia. Fishing craft of all sizes with Canadian warships led the search for survivors. They found wreckage, but no sign of life. The sound of the doomed jet hitting the sea had woken hundreds of people living along this coast.
Heard a loud, it wasn't even an explosion, it was almost like an air wave sort of hit the top of the house and the windows shook.
Emergency teams rushed to the coast hoping to play a part in a rescue operation, but the hours passed, and with them all hope for the 229 passengers and crew on board. 6 British people were on the flight. As the first bodies were recovered, would-be rescuers returning from the disaster area admitted they now feared the worst.
You always have hope at the beginning, and then when you see something like that, I don't think the chances are very good they're going to find anybody.
The rescue services later confirmed there was little hope of finding anyone alive.
The chances of a survivor right now are poor, very poor.
Small pieces of wreckage have been recovered, along with some baggage. Seat cushions and empty life jackets have also been seen in the water, and occasionally boats drop smoke flares to mark other semi-submerged debris. Divers are still searching for the plane's black box flight recorders. They could provide vital clues to the last minutes of Flight 111. This community has been numbed by the carnage which now surrounds it. Its thoughts are with the 229 passengers and crew who died, and with the friends and relations who waited in vain for Flight 111. Colin Baker, News at 10, Peggy's Cove, Nova Scotia.
But what could have gone wrong? One of the first things the investigators will be considering is the apparent combination of a fire on board the aircraft and the need to dump fuel for an emergency landing at Halifax. Our science editor Lawrence McGinty reports.
The last major accident involving a Swissair plane was 20 years ago, when a DC-8 overshot the runway at Athens and 14 people were killed. Since then, the airline's record has been unblemished. The MD-11 aircraft type has an equally good safety record.
It's had a couple of little incidents whilst in service, but the only major accident before the latest one was a year ago when a FedEx aircraft, which was a freighter, crashed on landing in New York. Nobody was killed, but the aeroplane was substantially damaged and written off.
So what did go wrong with Flight 111? It took off from New York at 8:17 local time. Just under an hour later, the pilot issued a pan international code for urgent assistance. He reported smoke in the cockpit and asked for an emergency landing in Boston, but instead took the option to divert to Halifax because it was closer.
An emergency was declared at some stage, and then as the aircraft descended from flight level 330, 33,000 feet was its cruising altitude, as it descended through between 10,000 and 8,000 feet, the aircraft disappeared from radar.
Investigators know the pilot was by then dumping fuel. His tanks must have been at least 3/4 full. A plane like the MD-11 couldn't land safely on the relatively short runway at Halifax carrying such a heavy fuel load, so it had to dump fuel. That's not advisable after seeing smoke on board, but experts say the pilot faced a terrible dilemma.
This is one of those situations where you can get in quickly into an airfield with a short runway and by dumping fuel. He would still have probably had to dump some fuel even if he'd gone all the way back to Boston. So I would say that getting the aircraft, if you've got a fire or indication of a fire, the important thing is to get the aeroplane on the ground and get the passengers off.
For relatives phoning the hotline set up by Swiss Air today, that may all be a little academic. But for investigators, discovering the cause of this disaster is crucial to preventing a repetition of the tragedy. Lawrence McGinty, News at 10.
We have more of the day's top stories after the break, including more harm than good, why doctors are ordered to prescribe fewer antibiotics. What England's soccer bosses said about plans for a European Super League. And eat a new boy. How did the young prince fare on his first day?
The Independent newspaper is delighted to welcome another well-informed reader.
How can a family of 5 fit comfortably into a small car? Why can't a small car be as safe as a big car? You can do a lot of damage at 9 miles per hour. Wouldn't it be great if you could undo it?
If you're looking to buy a new home, call into the Halifax and you can get a mortgage decision in just 15 minutes. Less time than it takes to have a really good look around. The Halifax 15-minute mortgage promise.
Have you been refreshed by Thai food lately?
Mercedes A-Class. The small car that challenges convention.
Welcome back. Family doctors and hospitals were given another warning today to cut back on the number of prescriptions they write for antibiotics, however much their patients might demand them. Government health experts said 15 million such prescriptions a year don't do any good and actually encourage the rise of drug-resistant superbugs. Our health correspondent Helen Wright reports.